I decided that we would start today's podcast with a little trivia question. Do you have your thinking cap on?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The surge protector. You know what that is.
Yeah, that strip thing that you plug into the wall and then you plug our other things into that thing.
And then it has like that little button that you push to turn it all on or off.
Yeah.
That thing. Okay. It was invented in 1970. Now,
Okay.
this is something that you're going to want to remember because you're going to want to use this like at parties and family reunions to impress all your family members and friends. People are going to look at you, Andrew, and they're going to go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in his presence. He's so amazingly intelligent.
There is
Okay.
no better way to impress someone than to talk about surge protectors. This is correct.
Okay. So, what was the official name when it was first invented? Was it A, Zap Trap, B, Power Devour, C, Watt Wad, or D, Shock Block? Okay. Was it Zap Trap, Power Devour, Watt Wad, or Shock Block?
So Watt Wad sounds dirty. So I'm going to say no to that one. And then Shock, what was the fourth one?
Shock Block.
Shock Block. That's the one I like. I'm going with that one. If I was sitting at a board meeting and those were presented to me, that's the one I would pick.
You want to try again?
Is it A?
Is it Zap Trap
Yeah.
or Power Devour?
Zap Trap. Is it Zap Trap?
Yes. I
Okay.
knew you knew the answer.
It only
Zap
took me
Trap.
three
That's right.
attempts.
Okay. That was the name that Harold P. Kopp of Buffalo, New York, said this is what he wanted to name his invention. I kind of wish that would have stuck around. I mean, instead of just like surge protector, hey, I need a Zap Trap.
It does sound silly, though. Surge protector sounds more mature. If you want to protect your things, you need a surge protector.
You know where you can buy them now?
Everywhere? Dollar store?
At the Depot.
You messed it up.
No, I didn't.
At the department. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, that's not right. We can edit that in post. It's not like this is live streaming. It'll be seamless once we're done.
Oh, I should have just a long phase after that.
She's on a roll.
They're all just so funny.
So funny.
So funny. On that happy note, welcome. I'm Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. And this is called Kim Komando Today. See how that works?
Mhm.
Okay. It's our Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast about all things digital. And joining me, of course, is Andrew Babinski. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Kim.
And so, what do you have for us today?
MrBeast may be the most powerful man on the internet, but when it comes to streaming, he may be in trouble.
Oh, really? Mr. like 300 million followers?
Yeah, it's not good. All the news about MrBeast in the last 3 weeks has been all negative.
That is not good. That is not good. Hey, just a quick reminder that if this is truly your last chance to enter to win that $1,000 vacation gift card.
That's it.
We are ending it. Yes. And so you have to go to winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com,
Okay.
because I have to like have a little break before we start the next contest. Now, the
Okay.
next one's going to be crazy because we're going to be giving away a brand new iPhone 16. I mean,
Wow.
that's going to be, everybody's going to want to enter that.
That's going to bring all the boys to the yard. Everybody wants an iPhone. Maybe then that's
And
when
so-
I'll sign up.
Well, you know what? You don't want an iPhone because you have that. I
I'm
don't
done
know.
with
What
it.
is that?
I hate it.
Huh?
I hate it.
Do you?
I do.
Why?
The only reason I hate it, this is the only reason I hate it, is because I've been using an iPhone for a decade, and it just slows my productivity down. Things that I could do with video editing and social media posting that I could do super fast, lightning quick, it just slows me down.
See, I thought you were going to be really happy with it. I mean, I even gave you like a shot about saying like, you're my only green bubble friend.
No, I don't. If I had the chance, and I guess I got it at Costco, and they have a 90-day return. But I traded in a phone. I don't even know how that works. I'll maybe investigate it. But 90 days for a cell phone is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is. Can you do our pitch to like, comment, share, follow, good stuff like that?
Yes, if you are enjoying this intense, in conversation about returning things to Costco, just simply comment, "Go Costco," below the video, or like the video, share, and don't forget to subscribe. The YouTube will remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, they'll remind you every single time we go live, which is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you share it, it helps the algorithm, it helps grow the show so we can keep doing it.
And if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, this doesn't mean that this does not apply to you.
No.
We would love for you to leave some great reviews about our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We also have a really interesting interview with a woman whose Ring camera was hacked while her 5-year-old son was sleeping. So you don't want to miss that.
Literally a
All
nightmare,
right,
a nightmare for any parent. A nightmare for any parent.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, 100%. All right, here are some things that just kind of ran across my screen that I thought you might be interested in. I read a story over at CNBC about a gentleman by the name of Chris Pyle. Okay, Chris Pyle was a transmission tech at Ford Motor Company. And there he was making $75,000 a year. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Decent job. Then he started thinking to himself, well, I wonder what else I could do. And then he ran across a website where now he's making $170,000 a year. Okay. He quit his job at Ford. Okay. And what he does is he goes over to JustAnswer.com and he answers questions about engines and transmissions and cars.
Wow.
And that's what he does.
So he has a specialty, a niche, which is in need, and that's why he's doubled his salary. Like this, anyone can't just walk over there and do that. You have to have a specialty, right?
Yeah. And you know what? And they're always looking for different type of areas. Like I was over on the site this morning, they're looking for people who know a lot of things about appliances, home improvement, for example. Travel is always another category. So he's making on average $14,200 a month. Now he does say he worked less when he worked at Ford. He was working 40 hours a week. Now he works 8 to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. But he says he gets to set his own schedule. He can be present for his family. And I was telling Barry about this. I am totally signing him up. Okay.
For the ham radio division?
Yes.
Yeah.
I said, you can answer any question about ham radio that anybody wants to throw out.
But this will not be profitable because even if Barry works 8 to 10 hours a day, that's going to be him just answering one question.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the entire encyclopedia.
Yeah, you're right. I got to talk to him about like brevity. I mean, sometimes when he's telling me a story, I know this is so rude, but we've been married almost 25 years, so I get to do this. Is that he'll start explaining something to me, and I'm like, "You're losing me. You're losing me. I'm off the planet right now." Okay.
You started talking about a grocery list, and now you're telling me the history of the Walmart store. We can move on. Quick question though, back to this guy's gig. Is it a gig economy thing? Does he get paid per answer, or is this a salaried position?
Oh, no. He gets paid per answer.
Okay.
Totally. Just totally gig. But think about that. $170,000 a year. He has bought, I don't know, I was reading 30 acres of land in Tennessee. He's building a second home. He has an RV. His wife used to be a nurse. She doesn't work anymore. She's homeschooling the kids. I mean, his whole life has just changed because of the ability to answer questions about engines. And he does have quite a few certifications, I should add.
What a phenomenal success story. That's great.
Yeah, we're trying to get him on the show. All right. When's the last time you went to a dentist?
I don't know, 7 months ago.
Okay. So imagine if you sat in the chair and you're leaning back, and instead of like a little hot hygienist that comes over and says, "Oh, hi, Andrew. How are you?
I like this.
Love your radio show.
Like where this is going."
Okay. And then after she makes sure that everything's good to go, and she took those x-rays, or we like to call them toothpicks.
Oh, God.
Okay. Then
yeah. Then what happened?
That was a good one. You gotta admit that one was all right. Okay. Okay. Then the dentist comes in and he or she says to you, "We're sorry to tell you, but you need 2 dozen root canals," or whatever. And you're like, "Oh no, really?" And they said, "You know what? but don't worry about it. We have a new dentist to help out. So you just lean back and just trust the process. And so you lean back, you open your mouth, and then this mechanical arm comes over your face and then just goes right into your mouth. And it's a robotic dentist.
That's pretty cool.
Would that bother you?
No, as long as I don't have to hear the dentist say I don't floss enough, because they're so mean about it. If that goes away, I'll deal with a robot dentist.
I know flossing, I guess it's overrated. I don't know. I don't do it either.
But they say it every time, regardless
You're
of how much
flossing.
you floss. Oh, you can tell you only just floss the teeth you want to save. If I hear that one more time.
Next time you go in, say, are you going to give me an x-ray or some toothpicks?
I am. That's a good one. Would you use a robot dentist?
Well, I'm hesitating because my dentist is a friend of mine. Okay. And I've known him for, oh gosh, probably like 30 years.
Okay.
And so last time I went in, he's like, okay, so we do have to do some work on a tooth in the back, and he said, and I'm gonna give you some Novocaine. And he said, do you have to do a show afterwards? I said, oh no. He said, yeah, okay, good. So I just want to make sure, we're gonna just numb up your mouth so you don't feel anything. And then he said to me, he goes, aside from that, he goes, some women have a different sensation when they get Novocaine. And I said, really, what is that? He goes, some women feel like their breasts are being fondled. He said, but that's
God,
just perfectly normal.
That's horrible.
I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah, a robot would never do that. A robot dentist is never going to inappropriately touch you.
I just thought, what a great line that is.
I wonder what dentists have to think about this. I mean, obviously, if this is the future, this is going to replace some jobs. Or do they see it as, now I can just check all the patients and deal with just patient care, and all the dirty work is done by the robot?
I could see like tooth cleanings, teeth cleaners rather. I mean, I think that should be robotic. There's no reason why you have to have somebody like do that. But I just wish they would figure out how to like get rid of that sound. Ooh,
the scraping.
Yeah, and the drill sound. It's like, even though they put headphones on you and you kind of zone out, it's still like, ooh.
Yeah.
All right. NASA is officially working on a commercial aircraft with speeds between Mach 2 and Mach 4, which you know what that is, miles per hour.
Of course I do. But if you want to explain it to everybody else who doesn't, that'd be great.
It's between 1,500 and 3,000 miles an hour. Could you imagine that? No. Getting on a commercial aircraft going anywhere between 1,500 and 3,000 miles per hour?
What's a plane fly at? Like 500, 600 miles an hour?
Maybe if you're lucky.
Okay.
400. It depends on your altitude, things like that.
All right, let's say 400. I mean, that's 10 times faster.
You could go from New York City to London in a little under an hour and a half.
That's crazy.
Okay. Go from New York to Los Angeles in, say, maybe an hour and 40 minutes.
Which is what it takes now to get from Phoenix to Vegas.
Or from Phoenix to Mesa. Wherever it might be. That's so fast that your in-flight peanuts are going to catch up with you, the baggage claim. So.
That was a bad one.
Oh, and you have to see this finally. What? You got rid of your dogs because you just didn't want them anymore.
Well, my daughter was terrified of them.
Oh, why?
She just was. She wasn't afraid of the big dog, but the little puppies, they were energetic. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm working later in the day, they were in their kennels all day long. It wasn't a perfect home for them.
That's not fair.
No.
That's not fair. So an indoor cam caught a dog chewing on a lithium-ion battery, a power bank, which set the house on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The flames spread through the living room in minutes. The family and all the pets got out safely. But here, check out this video. Look at this.
All right, he's got the pack. He's laying down on his little doggy bed. And he's chewing. He's using those back teeth. There's another dog just jealous that he's not chewing on a battery. Oh, could me? I see why the fire started now because he's laying on that big flammable foam cushion. That thing's gonna ignite.
Yeah, look at
Oh,
that.
there it goes. Oh, it's like a fireworks show. Man, don't
Look
just
at the dogs
stare
like,
at it.
ooh. Yeah, they're just staring at like, ooh. But you know what? These dogs are smart. They eventually get out through the doggy door.
Yeah, I mean they smell the smoke and they run. Oh, look at that. That is starting the whole house on fire. You're right.
It is.
That is tragic.
So, little PSA for you here on Kim Komando today. Uh, don't let your dogs, human or otherwise, chew on lithium ion power banks.
No, put that stuff away.
Not good. Hey, by the way, in case you want to share this video, we have it linked over at komando.com. Also, I think it's in our YouTube channel as well. I'll have to ask Mads. But it's really something that I just wanted everybody to see, to be aware of. Because a lot of people are like, oh, they'll never go on fire. Or how could that happen? It does.
I'll stop chewing on them as well now that I know the risk.
Toothpicks. That was my best one
It was
yet.
good. That was a legitimate laugh.
Hey, it's Kim Komando today. It's your fun podcast about all things digital. And in case you're wondering, this is not the Kim Komando show that's heard on, I don't know, thousands and thousands of radio stations. And for the first time ever, you can now get the Kim Komando show as a podcast with commercials or commercial free. So wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando with a K, of course. And that's the Kim Komando show. You're going to love it. And it's different than the podcast. See, the podcast is a place where, I deal with Andrew. Yeah. He's in case Pete, you were wondering, I mean, we don't have a big budget here. So
No.
He's like the best we could afford.
At the time. I don't know why I tell people to like and follow. The minute this thing gets popular, I'm out the door. You're going to bring in MrBeast or something like that.
Boom. Never, ever, ever, ever. All right. So do you have cams in the kids' rooms?
I don't have any inside cameras because honestly, I'm worried about being hacked and someone being able, I don't want, but I have cameras all around the outside of my house.
Well, we have cameras inside and outside. And if I had a kid, I would definitely put a camera inside the kid's bedroom just so that you'd be alerted if they, they get up, they want to go out to see their friends at, 2:00 in the morning.
I mean, I understand how they could be a positive. Absolutely. But I don't have any inside.
Well, I read about Ausharee Mcleod, and I said her name wrong. Ausharee Mcleod. I read about Ausharee Mcleod, and she lives in Killeen, Texas. And she wants to make sure that her little boy, just cute little guy, 5 years old, is safe at night. So she set up a Ring cam in his bedroom. And then one night, she gets a notification. Now, Ausharee's here with us to tell us the whole story.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we see you.
Yes, we can. We can hear you. We can see you. So what happened when you got that notification?
So the notification was a motion sensor, so it lets us know when he gets up and he moves. When I got that notification, I logged into the camera to see if he was just, tossing and turning or if he had gotten up out of the bed. When I logged in, when you immediately log into the Ring, it is muted, so you have to unmute it to hear the sound. I unmuted it, and I saw him sitting there looking at the camera frantically. I knew something was wrong. And then immediately after I muted it, I hear this male's voice saying hello to him. Because my son was sitting there looking frantically, I'm assuming that the guy had said something prior to me logging in, which woke up my son. And you can see my son backing up frantically, and it did sound like my husband. So I turn over, I look at my husband, he was sleeping, but I thought maybe because he was turned over on the other side of the bed, I thought maybe he had, when the motion went off, he was talking to him. I said, hey, are you talking to him through the camera? He goes, no, I just went to sleep. I said, there's a male talking to our son through the camera, and he's up like standing next to the bed. And he was like, what? So my husband immediately jumps off the bed because we're thinking somebody's in the house or something. My husband immediately jumps out the bed. I still am on the live watching. My son is going, "Daddy, daddy," because he thought it was his daddy. And then he realizes it's not daddy. And he
Gosh.
frantically, panically backs into the wall, and then he runs out of the room. And we met him in the living room because we were running in at the same time. Immediately took the camera down, took the battery out. We had two in the home, so there was one in my son's room for nighttime, because we were trying to get him to sleep in his bed, and then there was another one in like a breezeway like area of our house so that we could see if he did get up and walk. If the
Mhm.
other motion camera would catch him too, and we would know he was walking towards the living room. But the scariest thing ever, and my son is traumatized.
Wow. That is nutso. Now, I had heard that you went onto the Ring Camera app and then that video was gone?
It's gone. So my instincts kicked in immediately when the recording did everything, and when the ring camera, the motion went off. I immediately saved the video because it immediately, when you log in, it immediately starts saving that timestamp. I immediately saved it to my phone. And then when I got back in it, because my husband was trying to look at the timestamp of like it, and we were trying to see if the guy was already talking prior to that, trying to get a video prior to, video was gone. Like it never even happened. And literally, what saved as proof when we went to the police department is the fact that I saved that video in that exact moment.
Now, when you talk to
Wow.
your son, did your son describe what was said prior to you tuning in to the camera?
No, all he kept saying was, "Is daddy at work? Is daddy at work?" So I'm assuming that this is not probably the first time that maybe the guy hacked into it like the night prior or something, and maybe had asked where my husband was. And my son, he knows like during the day, and or maybe asking, "Hey, where's daddy?" or something. And my son was like, "Daddy's at work." So my son kept saying, all he kept saying was, "Daddy's at work. Is daddy at work?" And he was looking at my husband. He said, "Daddy, you talking to me on the camera from work?"
Wow.
And my son's like, my husband's like, "No, that wasn't daddy." And he was like, that's all he kept saying.
Wow. That is frightening. Now, of course, you took it to the police and what did they say?
So they said how it happened was our router that we got, which is new because we just signed up for this internet service provider. Typically, when service providers set up your router, they stated that they do not set up a blocker on it, so that you can't be hacked. People can't get into your router system. They stated that ours was unlocked, and that is how we were able to get hacked. On top of, once they had hacked into our router, they were able to hack into our ring because our ring was hooked up to the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So they
So
said that that's how they got in. So they're trying to trace the IP address to see if the person's near, or if it was, someone far away. So they're still working on trying to transcribe
well,
that.
so basically, you got a new router and unless you change the default
Correct.
password,
Correct.
is that
I got assistance, yeah, with that from some
everybody can
cybersecurity.
yeah,
Yeah.
anybody can tap into that. There's actually some places on the internet, and this is really frightening, that where I guess people with too much time on their hands, well, they'll actually like post ways to get into unprotected networks, routers, and then just for fun and for entertainment, that's what people do. I mean, I'm looking at your face. You're like, why would anybody do that? I know it's just kind of nuts so that they do this. It's like you might watch Netflix and they're going to go try to torment a little boy's in his bedroom.
And it's traumatizing to that. I mean, I know sick people don't think about anything like that in reference to what you're doing long term to a child when you do something like that. But it's now, a long term. If somebody had that, like for us, it was a safety precautionary measure of nighttime, so we could watch him if he got up or anything. And it was a protection thing, we thought. Now it kind of backfired on us, and now he's doesn't even want to be in his room at all, which is understandable.
Mm-hmm.
He's traumatized, closing doors. But for somebody to sell people's information like that, and it's a fun thing for you, that's just
It's
very
sick.
sickening.
Yeah,
Now,
it is sick.
Especially when you look at that video and you see how traumatized in that
yeah.
video that my son was.
Now, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong. If they have the IP, they can just look it up. They can do a who is search on the IP, right? To find out where it's coming from.
There may be logs inside the router.
Okay.
That's where we were informed. Yeah, the law.
There could be logs. And then, the ISP may be able to track where that traffic also originated from. And, with the IP address, you can get down to the granular level. If nothing else, you get down to maybe within a couple of houses. So it's pretty easy to find somebody. A lot of people don't realize that when they get on the internet, they may think that they're anonymous, when really you leave all these little digital cookies along the way. Well, you know what? Thanks for telling us your story, and thanks for coming on, because it serves as a warning, for a lot of folks. Is that number one? Is that if you do get a new router, you do need to lock it down. The same thing with your Ring camera, and because there's just it's like whack-a-mole. There are just so many different hackers, scammers, weirdos, crackpots on the internet, which this could be their form of entertainment. But at the same time, you use the word traumatize it. It's going to take a while for your little guy to get over this, I'm sure. And just as you were trying to get him to sleep in his own bed, he's back. Okay.
Yeah, knocked us way back. That's not even an option now. Yeah.
Well,
we've all been there. Eventually, they do go to their own bed. They do. I assure you.
Might be in his early 20s, but he is going to go to his own bed.
Not that long.
Oh man, I'll tell you.
Now,
well, here's
another thing that I learned from Kim Komando that could help. I have a mesh network. So my router is connected to the mesh network, and then everything in my house is connected to the mesh network. So if someone did want to do this exact same thing, they would have to get through the router, then through the mesh network to then connect to the camera, correct?
Not necessarily.
No.
Once you're in the network, you are in the network.
Okay. Even though everything all the devices are connected to the mesh network, and that's password protected?
Well, yours is. Hers was not.
Right. Okay.
And so that's basically what the problem is. She got a new router. She just plugged that sucker in and said, "Ooh, happy day, we're online."
Right.
And it's not really her fault, because, these things, they don't always come with step-by-step instructions. So I don't know if that was the case. And unless you know that this is happening, you probably don't even think about it.
Right.
Especially like if you have an older router. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't need a new router because, this one's worked fine for 10 years. Well, it has the worst security known to mankind. Okay. So, but this is why we are so incredibly popular. People stop me on the street and they say, "How do you do this?" every single day.
They do. The hordes. We have to hold them out. There's people, a whole group of people outside just waiting to ask you that question right now.
Well, I was actually out front checking the landscaping, and there was a guy taking a picture of himself, taking a selfie in front of the sign. And so, and he looked at me, he was like, gave me like that goldfish look, like right. Look at her. Like,
sign? Real? Sign?
And then I thought, and then I was thinking like, oh, maybe I should go over and like say, "Hey, you want to take a picture?" But then I thought, it's 120 degrees out.
You didn't go over and say hi?
I did wave and I said hi. And then I thought, I'm out here by myself and I don't know who he is. And
yeah, he was a fan enough to stop and take a picture of a sign. You're right.
There could be. I'm not really sure. I was just, as Barry likes to call me, the cash cow.
Yeah, we got to protect it.
That always warms my heart when he says that.
Oh, yeah, it's very sweet.
It is. It's just really something. Hey, it's Kim Komando Today. It's your fun podcast about all things digital. And if you're listening to the podcast on your walk or maybe you're driving or you're shopping, you're doing the gardening, whatever it may be, and you're just laughing out loud, well, that means that you need to tell somebody about the podcast, Kim Komando Today. Just one person. That's all. Just one person makes a difference. Right, Andrew?
We don't spend any money on marketing, so we're relying on you to market this for us. And we appreciate it when you do.
We do, because we don't have a marketing budget. We might one day.
And this thing that we say, it works. When I logged onto the Facebook video, I think it was Facebook, last week, right after the show, because I wanted to see something. I wanted to see that bit we did about the, the endowed Olympic athlete, because I thought it was pretty funny. So I wanted to watch it again. And there was like 45 shares.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
We need 450.
Oh.
That's what we need.
All right. So you did a bad job, people.
No, 45 is a good start.
It is.
But we need more.
It's better
We need
than
more,
nothing.
more. Because there's a lot of competition out there. And the algorithms, how they work, big tech, is that accordingly, the more people that like it and comment and share, then the algorithm goes, oh, this must be really good stuff. So I should push that out. So that's why we always say like, comment, share.
And we really sincerely appreciate it.
We do 100%. Okay. So what's going on with Apple and Bing?
No, we're going to do MrBeast here.
Oh, okay. What's going on with MrBeast?
So Prime Video, they are committed to battle all the streamers. Right now, who would you guess is the #1 streamer on the internet?
Service?
Video streaming.
I would say Netflix.
Netflix is #2. They have about 8.5% of all streaming video goes through Netflix. YouTube, which may not be fair, but they do have series and YouTube live TV. They're #1, 9%. And Prime is all the way underneath them with only 3% of all live streaming video. And
Wow.
so they're investing in it. They're going to go from $1.6 billion in entertainment and live sports and live television. Yes?
Who do we know? They can have us for like $500,000 a show.
We'll make a note of that. They are going to spend $16.3 billion to hopefully become the #1 streaming service on the internet. They got the money. It's Amazon. So
for sure.
One of the things that they decided to invest in is MrBeast and his reality game show. The premise was basically kind of like Squid Games. They were going to start with 1,000 people and have all of these challenges. And the challenges were supposed to be mental, physical, so anyone could win. And the biggest prize in game show history, $5 million.
Wow.
So they went to Amazon.
Crazy.
Reportedly, they got $100 million. Nothing's ever been confirmed. But it's not like Amazon's producing the show. They're just writing a check, and MrBeast and his production team are putting it together. And nothing but bad news has come out of there. The complaints are streaming out, and they're streaming out because MrBeast only offered $1,000 if people would sign a document promising they wouldn't talk about it and not sue them. $1,000 because they doubled the amount of contestants. That's the first thing. Instead of 1,000, it's 2,000. They're only sleeping about 4 hours a day. They're only getting meals at about 400 calories a meal, and they're getting limited access to water and their medication.
Oh.
Yeah. So because of this limited access, and it is reality TV, you have to think of it a little bit, stand a little bit back. Maybe we'll feed them a little less so they're a little angry, and so maybe there's a little fighting and drama, and it makes for good TV. Well, they are getting angry, and so they're stealing food from each other. They're beating each other up for food. They're beating each other up for water. Another thing when MrBeast was pitching the show is that it could be anyone. They cast people from the ages of 18 all the way up to 80 because these games should be able to be won by anyone. That's not what's happening. They're 100% physical challenges, and the faster, stronger players are also learning there's no rules. A woman was tackled in the middle of a field during one of the games. Her leg was broken during the tackle. She was eliminated and pulled off the field while they continued to film.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes, the nearby hospital, which is in Las Vegas, is reporting multiple injuries from multiple people coming in, either connected to the fact that they haven't taken their medication and they need medical treatment that way, or broken bones, concussions, cuts, scrapes, stitches, you name it. They are all filing into this hospital.
Okay, so this challenge, what exactly is it? Is it just a series of like climb ropes and jump through hoops? And I mean, is there like a goal at the end?
Well, the goal is to win $5 million and be the last person standing. The
I see.
only
Okay.
game that was released was the first game of the series, where they took the 2,000 people, split them up into 500-person teams, and had them play tug of war. That's the only game that's been released. But if you imagine, if you're a 65-year-old grandma who was told during the interview process, hey, come here and compete, you have a chance to win, you have zero chance to win at a challenge like that.
No, you're not going to win. You're going to get toppled over.
Yeah.
And then you're going to break a hip.
Right.
And then that's going to be it.
Exactly. So MrBeast people in the last 2 weeks, they've gotten wind that people are coming out with their stories. People are actually contacting other producers within Amazon saying, hey, this is happening. Amazon needs to do something. So MrBeast's production company reportedly called everyone back and said, listen, we know what's going on. We know this hasn't been perfect. We're learning. How about we give you $2,000 to sign this document saying you won't say anything and you won't sue us? Not a lot of people are signing. And the worst part about it is they're moving on to phase 2 of the filming, which is supposed to be in Canada in the middle of August. And the unions for all the art and production groups in Canada are telling all of their union members, do not work for MrBeast because it's unsafe conditions.
Wow.
Now, there's no way Amazon's walking away from this. They're going to figure it out. They'll find somewhere else to shoot. They'll pour more money into it. This is going to happen, but it is not good for MrBeast.
Wow, MrBeast. Well, I did watch his Squid Games. I thought that was fabulous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My daughter and I are totally psyched for this series. I'm not going to tell her any of this, but because she loves me. She's in that age range. She loves MrBeast. We were really excited for this Amazon series, but they got to get this together.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, do you know how MrBeast got his do you know how MrBeast got to be called MrBeast?
No, I don't know how he got his name.
Really? When he was a kid, he signed on to Xbox, and at that time, Xbox would assign you an avatar and also give you a username.
Okay.
And so he was given like 5 choices, and he looked up and he said, "Oh, I'll be MrBeast."
Wow.
And so that's where MrBeast came from. And I always thought it was so funny. If they had just added the letter R, he would have had like a completely different career path. Hey, it's Kim Komando Today. Really so thrilled that you're here with us each and every podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure that you enter to win that $1,000 airline gift card, because let me tell you, after a few days, it's just not going to be available. And then I'm going to have to give it to somebody else. You know why? Because you're like, oh, I'm never going to win that. I never win anything, Kim Komando. Just so go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com.
So I saw this story. I thought it was, sorry.
No, go ahead. You go.
Okay. I saw this story. I thought it was really funny. It was about Apple, Google, and Microsoft. So if you have an Apple phone or an Apple device, the default search, if you search anything, because you can just pull up Safari and just write something. You can write MrBeast in the address bar. You don't need anything else. You don't need to go to Google, but it will do a search for you on the internet. And that defaults to using Google search. Well, Microsoft wanted to be the default Google search for Apple. And they went to Apple and they said, listen, we have a deal for you. You will get 100% of all ad revenue if you make Bing the default search result for your Apple phones.
Wow, 100%?
100%. We're trying to grow Bing because right now, 92% of searches are on Google. 3% of searches are on Bing, which shocks me that actually 3% of people use Bing.
Right.
And you know what Apple told them? No, we'd lose too much money because you don't know how to generate revenue. Also, your search stinks.
So
Microsoft offered them 100% of Bing, and Apple said no.
Okay, and instead, Apple paid Google $22 billion. Okay, they turned it down for free and instead spent $22 billion.
Isn't that's when you go, you know what? It's time to just shut her down.
You should shut her down. And they probably should have called it Bang.
Why?
Bang instead of Bing. Because think about all the guys, I banged Barbie last night. Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I was just sitting at home, banged a couple of models. Yeah, I guess it's a little better. But they're number two. Bing's number 2, and it's only 3%. Like, nobody else has a chance.
We're number 2. We're number 2.
They are. They literally are. And Apple said they were.
I think we're kind of like I'm sad to say, we're kind of like the Bing of the podcast.
Not in Rwanda. Not in Rwanda, baby.
Not in Rwanda. That's right. That is true.
Is that it?
I'm going to Rwanda.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
I'll tell you more about it.
All right.
Well, everybody, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. And we'll see you again on Monday. Or you can catch the Kim Komando show this weekend. You're going to love it.